Oh shit. You good on that side?
Good over here. Good
All
over
right.
here.
All right. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
Good was good.
All right. We a little bit off regularly scheduled programming. We had to cancel our live stream this past week because some of the panelists had some shit to attend to. So we decided to come through and give y'all just some shit talking real quick. Not gonna make this thing last too long though. But we're gonna get straight into it though. Jazz, what up, sis?
Was good, bro.
Ain't shit. Ain't shit. Yeah, yo. I want to get into this transgender talk. You brought up some interesting
First,
points.
first, let me introduce myself. I mean, y'all
Word.
probably already know me by now. Jazz. I also have the channel, The Comfort Zone. Go check it
Facts.
out. Subscribe, like the
Word.
video that's already up.
That's a fact.
Um, we gonna be putting more content on there. It's me, Silk, and Jazz, the other Jazz.
That's a fact.
Um, let's go check that out.
Word. And before I get into my shit, I want to salute to all my subscribers. Special shout out to everybody passing through. If you're not already subscribed, I invite you to stay a while. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification icon for alerts on all future content. Okay, this is what we do over here. Let's see. All right, let's get into this shit. What we doing? What we talking about?
We're talking about transgender.
All right.
So
Is this a hold on? Is this a controversial topic for some people? You think?
definitely, I definitely believe so. Both topics that relates to transgender, I think, could be, something to talk about, something to go back and forth over. But the first one, what I wanted to talk about is um transgender. Okay, recently a YouTube video came out
Hmm.
um with somebody named Ben Bad Spills, and they released a video on YouTube saying that just basically outing all the men that they slept with, that the person slept with. It's a transgender female, which means she was born as a man, but she's transitioned to a female. So she outed all the dudes in Trenton that she slept with. Um,
Damn, they exposing each other like that out here?
they exposing them. They exposing them.
Yo, is that shit common in the LGBT community? They be doing shit.
Um, I think it. I think it's possibly common in the LGBTQ community when
Right.
it comes to transgender, because what happens is a lot of these men secretly sleep with transgender men and women, or or women, whatever, whoever. A lot of people sleep with transgender men and women, and secretly. Now, I don't know what happens in between time that causes the individual to want to out these people.
Mm.
Now, that's my concern. That's the concern that I have.
So you thinking it's like a fallout type of situation, and they just like they mad at something? Is that what we
I
thinking?
don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know if it's for clout. I don't know if it's for fame. I don't know if it's because they're mad. I don't know what it is, but I think that it's all fine and dandy to um speak on how you feel when it comes to who you deal with, but if that's to me, I think it's equivalent to like when Superhead came out. Remember when she came out? She wrote the book. She said all the people like
Corinne Steffens, yep.
Corinne
That's a
Stephens.
fact.
Yes. What goes on that makes you do this to another person? Like, is it a falling out? Is it And if it is a falling out, you can't possibly tell me that you had a falling out with every single last person that you slept with,
Mm.
that you had to expose everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, everybody ain't comfortable with being out like that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So you basically just bringing them out of the closet
Yeah.
when they felt comfortable enough to deal with you in that way. Even if they paid you or whatever the situation is, Why? What's the issue? What makes a person want to call these people out like that? And what makes you think that there's not consequences that come along with it?
But my thing is though, what I don't get is, okay, so they're exposing the people that that they laying down with. What's the exposing for though? Like, what are they getting out of?
That's what I don't understand. That's what I'm having a big issue with. Why? Why? Why are you exposing these people? What are you? What? How is it making you feel better at the end of the night?
Right.
What's the point of it?
And then so these people, right? So let's say, so the dude that you just mentioned, he's putting.
It's actually a female. I
Oh,
just want
okay.
to come right. You know,
Okay.
he was born. She was born as a man, but she transitioned into a woman. So she's a female. She's a female.
Okay. Respect to that. Yeah, you said he, so that's what threw me off. I wasn't
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
sorry.
be.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't never. Just to be clear, I don't never want the LGBTQ community coming at me.
So they come
I just want to
running.
be crystal
Right.
clear.
We
So,
may
all right,
judge each other because that's it's a lot of judgment in that community. But
right.
when it's time to stand up for what's right, they
And I
come together like glue.
And I promise, if I say something that sounds crazy, if I misspeak, it's just because it's confusing to me when it comes. I understand the lesbian, the homosexual, the bi. I just don't. It's a lot about that transgender part of the community that I just genuinely don't understand. So if I misspeak, it's not me judging. I'm just truly, you know what I'm saying, ignorant to some of the shit. But my question is, so this female is taking people that they're sleeping with, and they're doing like blogs on their YouTube channel saying this is who I did this, and that with.
Right.
And then these people are finding out about it.
Right.
And then what?
and that's just it. Now the business, because it's a lot of talk and chatter once you do that. Like once you do that, it's like, oh, such and such. Oh, he slept. Oh, he nasty. Oh, he gay. Oh, he. You know what I'm saying? Like, and see, this is another issue I have. Okay, so if this woman is now a woman and sleeps with a man,
right?
Is it still considered gay?
Say that one more time.
If this woman, which was born as a man, but is now technically a woman and sleeps with a man, is that still considered gay?
See, now this is the type of shit that really confuses me, right? This is real shit, because if the point is that as a transgender, within yourself you truly feel like you're the opposite sex, but for some reason you feel like your body betrayed you, whatever it is, right? You feel like you're trapped inside the wrong body, right? The wrong gender.
Right.
But you were naturally born a man. But if you feel like you're a female, you identify as that. So we have to acknowledge you as a female. Why would the question be, is that person gay? But also, my other question to that is, if you're naturally born a gender and you have a sex change, you transition, whatever they call it, whatever the politically correct way to call it is, how is it not? So I need to know on both sides.
But it's all in the transition stage. Like if you completely transition from a man to a woman, and in the state's eyes or the world, or however, I don't know what process you have to go through to, like document wise, and
So the state, so the way the state looks at it is legally. I mean, you can start the transition, you can take hormones, you can grow, like if you're transitioning from man to female, you can take hormones, you can grow breasts, all that. But let's say, for example, if you commit a crime, the state will house you in a jail that is congruent with no, not with the gender you were born. They will house you based on your genitalia. If you've had the sex change, legally they will put you in a female jail. If you are female by parents, but you have not had the sex change, your genitalia is still male, they have to go by your genitalia. That's how the state does it. For the purposes of like jail and shit like that. That's how they do it.
Okay, let's say this person. Okay, so that's okay. So that's the difference between a full
Right.
transition
Right.
and you just taking hormone pills or whatever, and you didn't have your surgeries yet.
Right.
But when it comes to a full transition and you sleep with a man or you sleep with the opposite sex, that's still considered that. Are we still considering that person gay?
See, that's what's tricky. And I guess from the perspective of those individuals, I guess you would have to say no, because they're trying to get their body to match how they're all, the fact that they already feel like they should have been a woman. So that's where it gets a little bit iffy. And it's weird because even with the sex change, even if you now have every, anatomical part that's female from anybody on the outside looking in, how does that negate the fact that you were naturally born a gender? I don't understand. That's the part I don't get. I understand what you identify as. I understand, you've made the transition, you've done all the work, what have you. But how does that? It's just crazy to me.
Okay, well, look at it like this. Now, look at it like this.
Yeah.
How do a doctor determine whether or not you're female or male?
They determine it based on your genitalia.
Exactly. So if I transition, so me as a woman, if I transition into a man and had all of the genitalia and whatever I needed to be that exactly that, you can't take away from me and say I'm not a man.
But here's the problem. I feel you. Here's the problem, and that's interesting. But here's the problem, though. Hold on, let me put my thing on silence right now so I don't fuck up the stream. Here's the problem, though, Jazz, and this is the thing that this is why it's so confusing. Your DNA, the makeup of your DNA, your chromosomes, everything genetically speaking, you will always be a male. For example, you can make the full transition to a female, but once you hit about late 30s, early 40s, guess what? You can have a complete sex change. You still about to get that prostate exam because you're still genetically a man. So all of the things that men have to do as they age, medically speaking, you still got to do those things. You can't. There's certain things that you can't remove. Like you can change the genitalia, but genetically speaking, the diseases, the things that men have to deal with, like for example, and this is not absolute because men can get breast cancer. We know that as a medical fact. But if you're a female transition to a man, you're still, just like a female would be, higher risk for breast cancer. You still have to get mammograms and things like that. You still have to have these things checked out. I would imagine even if there's a way that you get rid of your boobs, right? Those cells, they're still female cells. So the same types of things that you would have to go through as a woman as you age, I would still think you still have to have those same problems and those same things paid attention to. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, for example, when you go from a male to a female to a male, they can turn your genitalia to, match the male anatomy, but they're not doing hysterectomies, are they? Are they taking out everything? They are.
They are doing hysterectomy. That's what I'm saying. They are.
Or is it different levels of the surgery depending on what you can afford?
Well, of course, you have to be able to afford it, but they are giving you a full hysterectomy.
But then there's still got to be something left behind. That's still, like, there's still got to be, unless this is all the way to the core, because I believe this is what I believe. This is what I'm starting to believe based on, because I don't think anybody in their right mind, just like the whole talk about are people born gay, are they not? This is what I truly believe. It's just my theory. Nobody would choose a lifestyle that is that stressful for them, with all the ridicule, the bullying, all that, right? My theory is that that's some kind of a birth defect where you might be, maybe genetically speaking, because I don't think they've ever done research on it.
Did you just call me a birth defect?
No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about transgender. I'm talking about transgenders. I believe that maybe, genetically speaking, they were born a female. But I believe that there was something that happened throughout that gestational period that they ended up with some formation, and whatever the genes that determine male from female, something got mixed up somewhere. So physically, they took on the appearance of a male, but everything else internally tells them that they're female. Because if you think about it, most transgenders, they do kind of look like that sex that they end up transitioning to. Like they already kind of have those features a little bit. So on some level, it's kind of like you kind of got to think there's something deeper going on. I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of the men who transition to women, I feel like they already have
female traits.
Yeah, those physical
characteristics. And a lot of men or women that transition into men.
Right.
If you notice,
already kind of
really small, and you know,
and they got the structure. They got the facial structure, the jawbone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Transgender. Well, FTM, that's female to male. And
okay.
FTF is male.
See, I don't even be knowing all of these acronyms, and that's not disrespect. I just
I've seen a lot of FTM transgenders that don't even have to have top surgery
because they just don't have much.
Just because all you got to do is put muscle there.
So that's what they do. They implant muscle.
No. They build muscle. They work out.
Oh, they just okay.
Because once you start taking a T, you getting testosterone, and you work out, you build the same type of muscle a man will build.
And so they say, right, that women predominantly have estrogen, but they also have some level of testosterone, and men vice versa. We're predominantly testosterone, but we do have some levels of estrogen. So right. I wonder, again, and this is what I mean with the genetic shit, I wonder if in those cases, those people who are cross-identifying, I wonder if they have more of the other. See, I don't know. I haven't done enough.
So what do you think happens in someone like me? I am I'm perfectly fine with being a woman. I love being a woman. I would never change my sex. But I'm a lesbian. What happens there?
I don't know.
What do you think happens
there?
See,
part of my theory makes me feel like, because look, our brains control everything. Our brains control what we're attracted to, who we're attracted to. It controls everything. So what if the chemicals or whatever you would call them that determines attraction to whether male or female, what if, again, I don't know. I hate to say it because it sounds crazy, but just basically speaking, what if it's some kind of birth defect where those signals are just attracted to that? You see what I'm saying? Like that would, in my mind, my logical mind, that would have to be a part of it. And I'm really not trying to sound crazy or be disrespectful. I'm trying to make sense of it, because you have some people that really argue, oh, you're not born that way. And then you have people who feel like I must have been born that way, because why would I choose this? So it's I don't know. I
think when it comes to the LGBT community, LGBTQ community, it's very, very difficult to try to understand, because
is it divided?
At the end of the day, the same way you feel like you're heterosexual is the same way one of us feel like we're homosexual.
But you see, hold on now, because people who are heterosexual would argue that's a false equivalency. And this is not me, but I'm playing devil's advocate. People who are heterosexual would say no, because by nature, I naturally am this way because that's how nature designed it. So they will use that argument.
Nature as in
right.
What?
Nature as in nature. No, not scientists. No, the universe, nature,
okay.
Law of nature. Like, for example,
Why? Because of reproduction.
You would have to include that. Like, for example, like people would argue, nature designed it so that you need a male and a female, 23 chromosomes, one side, 50-50, to create a living human being. So people will dive on that and be like, this is nature, what nature intended. You see what I'm saying? So how, as part of the LGBT community, how do you argue against that? How do you rebuttal that?
You don't argue against it, because it's not like what we feel goes against reproduction. It's what we feel is what we feel.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? just like you feel like you are attracted to women, I feel I'm attracted to women as well. What happens there, I don't know.
Yeah.
How long have I been attracted to women? For as long as I've known I've been attracted to anybody.
Well,
I was attracted to women.
They say that as early as 2, 3, 4 years old, you start to develop sexual identity and kind of knowing what you're attracted to. You may not understand it.
But that goes against saying I was born like this. If you understand what I'm saying. Because we weren't born to have attraction. You weren't born attracted. You weren't born. You developed that attraction.
Well, I think we're towing a line. So what? Okay, so I'll put it like this, right? During the gestational period, right? Most people say 9 months, but those 10 calendar months that a fetus develops into a human being, right? Different things develop first. Hearing develops before eyesight. When you're born, your hearing is better than your eyesight.
Okay.
Right? And you wouldn't say, well, I wasn't born able to hear. That came later. Yes, it came later, but it's different developmental stages. I don't think saying at age 5, I start to know somewhat sexual identity-wise what I'm going to identify as. I don't think that means necessarily you weren't born that way. I just think that at that process, that part of your brain is starting to develop. I don't know if you could. That's what makes it hard, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes it hard. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
So then how come...
My personal thoughts on this...
Yeah.
...is people need to stop trying so hard to understand. Because the same way you are trying to understand why I choose to be a lesbian is the same way I'm trying to understand why you trying to be a heterosexual.
But I don't think we should... Respectfully, I don't think we should stop trying to understand. But here's why. Because the problem is, right? The reason why I believe the reason why a lot of the persecution that happens, back then with the LGBT community is because, people as human beings, as human nature, if we can't understand something, we fear it. And when we fear something, we lash out against it. So when I say that we should seek to understand, I mean, because to so many people, it's not natural, understanding or trying to understand will help you find common ground more. Now, I don't mean try to understand for the purpose of trying to either make sense or prove that it doesn't make sense. I just mean try and wrap your head around it in a way that you could be like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it. And me, I'm just curious. Like, that's just, what I'm saying? I'm curious. I'm just a student.
But it's very hard to understand how the person feels. And it's very hard to explain. It's very hard to explain because you got to understand, we're trying to explain, us as a community, we're trying to fight the fact that we're just as normal as you.
Yeah.
When any heterosexual going to feel like, well, no, this is how it's supposed to be done, and this is how you're doing it. So it's always going to make us seem like we're over here. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is where we are. Mm-hmm. But and how I feel is you can't tell me how something's supposed to be done.
No, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree. Yeah, you're right. I don't agree. A lot of
people feel that way. This is what's supposed to be done, and this is what you're doing. So this makes you an alien, because that's exactly what's going on.
But understand too, most of the people who take that position are people who are subscribed to a religious doctrine. They're subscribed to a religion where they're programmed, conditioned to believe that it's an abomination of God to be that way. So those people, I think they're extreme because their religion tells them that it's wrong. But I don't think that's the majority. I think people who don't put all of their coins in their religion basket, those are the people who I think are more able to be more open-minded. You know what I mean? I just think there was a time when religion was all about mind control and trying to force people.
That's still a time now.
Well, yeah, it's not as prominent though. It's not as prominent only because our generation and the generation coming up under us, they ain't having it. But there was a time when everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I grew up in church. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, I know exactly how that works. But I mean, okay, so this is something that we could talk about forever
100%.
because there's no no right answer to it in my opinion. But let's talk about what you were talking about earlier, where okay.
Yeah, so let's transition into it. Yeah.
Okay, so once you do transition and you change from female to male or male to female, and I'm only talking about a full transition. When I say transition, I'm speaking on full because once you start talking about, okay, well, maybe they don't have their parts, okay, so as a full transition, meaning you got your top surgery, bottom surgery, you're taking whatever hormones you need to take, your name is changed, your sex is changed on your ID. Now, at this point, are you obligated?
All right, see, hold on real quick before you drop the bomb. Because it's weird, because when I was having this conversation with my cousin back on one of our podcasts a while back, this is the same distinction that he made. I don't think that it should matter. See, we talk on this platform and your platform, your channel and mine. We talk so much about relationship shit, and we talk so much about the importance of honesty and of not taking away a person's choice and being upfront and not creating unnecessary stress and drama in relationships. And I'm a big advocate of two things. One, I'm an advocate of you have to enter into a relationship the right way. You have to enter into a potential, because listen, some people don't look at it like this way, but even a one-night stand has the potential to turn into a long-term relationship. Even somebody that you just consider to be just a thing, you know what I'm saying, that could potentially turn into a long-term relationship for a lot of people. So you have to enter into those situations, one, treating that person like you want to be treated, and two, acting as if that situation could turn into a 5-year relationship, a 10, whatever. And so I don't think that it should matter that you haven't had the sex change versus you have.
Well, this is, but it makes it a lot more complicated. Okay, because at the end of the day, now I agree with you. That's the thing. I agree and I also disagree. I agree and also disagree.
And here's what she's responding to. The question is, as a transgender, if you hook up with or meet somebody who is not a transgender, should you be obligated to disclose that information to them? Go ahead.
Okay, so me personally, I say yes and no. And let me explain why. Me, if I was a transgender, if I was born a male and transitioned on to a female, or born a female and transitioned to a male, and I have a full transition, and whether it mattered or not, with the sex change and all that other stuff, you will have a hard time telling me that I should have to tell you my background on. Okay, now I'm gonna give you both. Don't cut me off first. I'm gonna give you both. A reason why I say yes and no. It's very hard to say to me, I should have to tell somebody in the future about what's going on in my past, because I've always felt this way. I've always felt like I was a man, or I always felt like I was a female. So technically, in my eyes, this is me. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
Yes, I understand. I understand 100%.
When I talk to you, I'm talking to you as the person that I am.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, this is what I say. Yes, you are obligated. Because
can I respond to that first, or you want me to wait?
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Just that part right there. And I mean this with the most love and respect. Understand, when I say that you should, when I say you should be obligated, I don't mean.
Powering off.
The fuck was that?
My speaker.
Oh. I don't mean like, yo, I demand you are obligated. What I mean is, you yourself, within yourself as a person, you should feel obligated. Here's why.
Well,
it's not about. I'm not done responding to it though. Hold on real quick.
Okay, well, you basically want to say what I was gonna say when I me agreeing to what you're saying.
Well, I'm gonna add another part to it.
Okay.
So, okay, and this is why. Um, you're right. Talking about your past, that's an emotional thing that, yeah, you have to decide if you're actually going to be pursuing something with that person, because that is an intimate thing. And I fully believe that if you're going to consider getting into a situation with someone, then there are certain things you may want to open up with them about your past. But when I say disclose the fact that you present day are in a different physical being form than you were born, it's not for you, it's for the other person. I say that because we see people who are legitimately homosexual, legitimately transgender, who they're dealing with those issues, but they may not have navigated through it yet, and they're still trying to figure out who they are. We see that all the time. People who are homosexual, but they live straight for so long because family, friends, pressure, whatever. They don't know how to, break free of that. And as a member of the LGBT community, knowing the type of stress and pressure, living a lie or not being able to live your life openly, don't put somebody who is heterosexual through that. I say that because it's for them. You're not disclosing to me that you're transgender because you owe me some piece of yourself that's not my business for me to know. It's about my choice. This is just about the physical. This is just about the sexual contact. If I'm a heterosexual, give me the option to still choose to deal with you in that way, knowing that the anatomical parts you have, you didn't always have. I would want to know if we once shared the same genitalia, because to me, that may create a conflict. For me, like you asked the question, okay, if I'm a male and then I transition into a female, but I like men, am I gay? Same thing. That might create turmoil within me. If I find out after the fact, then I might be like, well, damn, this is a woman now, but does that make me gay because they were... I'm just saying, don't put another person through that, because the mind is a very fragile thing. And those are the types of situations that can drive people crazy. You see what I'm saying?
I completely understand what you're saying. I completely agree to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But this is when you have to realize that things get deeper than that. Now, things are so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
Once you make that type of move, now, people, human beings, period. Let's go back to just being gay, period. Because 9 times out of 10, when this person started out, they identified as lesbian or gay.
Really? Is that how it works?
Majority of the time, like,
okay.
Normally, when a female is transitioning into a man, not so. I don't see it so much with men transition into women, but when females transition into men, they start out as AG stud, aggressive females. That's how they start off.
Okay.
Now, it is from the beginning very hard to come out as a lesbian or a lesbian woman, gay man. Very hard. People make it hard. People make it hard because they don't accept it. So what happens is, when you transition, it's like going back in the closet. It is very hard to bring that come out the closet. Just like it's hard to come out the closet as a lesbian or a gay man. It's very hard to do that. People don't make you comfortable enough to do that. Now, if it was a lot more people in this world that made you comfortable with that, I don't think it would be an issue. But the problem is, let's say me as a female, I transitioned to a man and I approached a female. And I came out from the rip. I'm transgender. People look down on that so much that they don't make you feel comfortable to go to the next person and say it. You get what I'm saying? And not saying that it's right for you to just now, at this point, shut down and keep it in, but this is why people don't speak about their past in the beginning. This is why people don't speak about their transition in the beginning, because there's not enough people making them feel comfortable to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the reality of it. I can't approach to this day, if I tell a female that she's pretty, automatically I'm hitting her.
That's a
You get
fact.
what I'm saying?
That's a
So it's
fact.
like, you know, it's so touchy when it comes to that type of stuff. This is why people choose to keep that type of business in their past or to themselves, because they're, especially when it comes to men, especially when it comes to men. If a transgender man, someone that transitioned from a man to a female, approaches a straight man, you get what I'm saying? As a transgender, you know how most of the time, I'm not speaking for all men because I'm sure it's not all men that do this, but you know how hard that person will have to handle that.
So you right, 100%, and that's why you're creating. You would be creating more danger not only to yourself but to the other person by hiding that from them.
By
Because
hiding
my
it. But
thing,
this what
yeah,
you don't.
because
This is where it get a little tricky.
yeah,
A lot of transgender, not a lot, but there is transgender. I don't know what they call transgender, male to female, people that
uh-huh,
are just directly attracted to straight men.
uh-huh,
You get what I'm saying? And
yeah,
vice versa. Female to male, there is those type of transgenders that are attracted to straight women,
yeah,
but there's not a lot of understanding when it comes to that.
right,
Because yes, you're right. It causes turmoil within yourself because you start to think, oh, am I gay? Oh, am I that? But technically, this person is exactly what they say they are.
but understand though. So now, yeah, there's uncomfort there. I'm sorry, there's discomfort there, and people are fucked up. But my thing is, for you and for me, see, if I was a transgender, I would rather take the chance and putting that out in the beginning, because if you are uncomfortable with that, I want to know now, because a person who's truly uncomfortable with different things, they're going to be that person regardless. So do you want to invest time with that person? Because eventually, if you spend enough time with a person, it's going to come a point you will have to tell them. Because let's say, for example, you are a man and transition to a woman, and let's say you know you date men and you get into a relationship with a man, but when you first met them, you didn't tell them that you were transgender, and things go well, and time passes. Now you 5 years in. Now this man, who his entire life has lived a heterosexual man, he has never had any thoughts of you know being with the same sex or anything of that nature. Now this man wants to get married and have a family. He wants to have children with the woman that he's with. You know that you can't produce children for this man. You can't. Now, at that point, you will have to tell this man. And at this point, if you value that relationship, you will have to come clean about what the situation was. So now what type of trust level is going to be able to remain there if that man then has to look back at the past 5 years of his life that he can't get back to? Because he thought he was building a relationship, building towards kids, a family. Then to find out 5 years later that you didn't even have enough respect for him to tell him, and now you've taken 5 years that he cannot get back, and now he can't have children with you. That is devastating. And of course, every relationship is not going to ride off into the sunset like that. But what I'm saying is, if we all value relationships more, and if we all want to be better in our relationships, you have to go into any interaction with the person that you're attracted to thinking that there's going to be a relationship that blossoms out of that. And if you think that way, then you have to be delicate and take care of that relationship week one as if it was 2 years, 3 years. Because if you don't, then you're not going to make it to that 2, 3 years, 5 years in a healthy way. And that's why so many relationships fall apart. It's usually because a truth comes out later that was hidden before. And that's a fucked up thing to have to deal with.
I completely agree. I completely agree. To me, I just think the biggest problem that a transgender or LGBTQ community period have, the biggest issue that they have is Yeah, you have to value your relationship, but we don't have enough people that values people, just everyone, just you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Understand that there is different people and uniqueness in different people, and everybody's different, and everybody, you know, dress different and look different, and we don't
Right.
we don't pay attention to those things anymore. And it's like nobody's comfortable enough. My thing is a lot of the issues that come along with it is you have a hard you struggling with your sexuality when it comes to that point when you find out now you struggle when you are comfortable, very comfortable in your skin and, and who you are, excuse me. And if you met somebody, see, this is different between me and a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you meet somebody, no matter what the gender is, and you got that connection with a person, let's say you did find out that you meet somebody that's now a man or now a woman, and in your head, automatically you fall back. Oh well, I'm not gay. When hey, I'll be out there in a second. When technically that person could possibly be the person that you might fall in love with.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? But because of something that they went through genetically or in their past,
Yeah.
you're judging them. You're passing up something good.
All right. I don't, and I know we got to get ready to cut it short because you got. I don't. I don't. I don't want to look at it as judging. Here's my thing. You're right. You could be so fully into that person, in love with that person. A relationship could be perfect. Here's my thing, and let's approach it from a heterosexual standpoint because I don't want to make it just about the transgender thing because that's not what I'm saying. I don't want transgender people to feel like I'm saying because you're transgender you need to listen. I don't care if you are heterosexual, bisexual, whatever. If you got an STD, you better tell me. If you got a child, you better tell. I don't care what it is. If I'm heterosexual and I meet a woman and we get into a situation together and there are certain key things that she keeps from me in the beginning of that relationship, we could be 10 years in a perfectly blissfully ignorant relationship. If I find out at year 10, we got kids, we're married, we're happily in love. If I find out that you lied to me about something on year 1 that would have possibly altered whether or not I stayed in a relationship or not, and you took that choice away from me, I promise you, I will never look at you the same. I don't care how in love we were, because there are certain things that I expect never to be taken away from me. I hate to make this equivalency because I'm not trying to diminish what women go through in these situations, but men go through it too. Not as many, obviously, but the same way that you don't have the right to physically force a woman or man to sexually engage with you, don't take away my freedom of choice to choose who I engage with. Because in a way, it's like mental rape. It really is in a way. I really look at it like that. And I know people will see that and go, nah, yo, you can't compare it. I'm not comparing. I'm saying the level of violation, how I would internalize that, is the same. For example, if I meet you and we start dating, and 5, 7 years later, we have 2 kids, and then I find out year 7 that one of our 2 kids is not mine because you were dealing with somebody behind my back, got pregnant, let me think the child was mine, and then I'm living happy family, and then I find out 7 years later this child is not mine. Yo, the level of violation I would feel internally, can't nobody tell me that that's not that shit. That shit would drive me crazy.
Yeah,
I would
I
never
agree.
look at you the same.
Listen, bro, I agree with you completely. I agree with you. I do not. I am all for never taking a choice from me. If you choose, if you chose to be, or let's say you did cheat. When you cheat, let me know. Let me choose whether or not I
Exactly.
want to be with you. I
Exactly.
agree with that. I completely agree with that. What I don't agree with is there's not enough people out here making it comfortable for these people to be honest.
You're right. You're right.
That's what I don't agree with. I agree with the fact that you should be completely honest from the rip and give a person a choice. But I also feel that people need to be a lot more open and a lot more comfortable with hearing those honest things that they're giving you. If you understand what I'm saying.
You know why I think, a big part of the reason why I think people aren't comfortable, there's always going to be assholes because nothing is absolute. But a big part of the reason why I believe most people are not comfortable with open honesty is because so many of us are not used to it. I believe, I think it's a conversation of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. My comfort level to tell you the truth as a person who I'm engaging in some kind of a relationship with, my comfort level, that's my problem. My responsibility, if I value you enough to share my time with you, my body with you, my responsibility is to be real with you, 100% transparent. If I don't, for whatever reason, I can't blame you for not making me uncomfortable. That's just like a person who has issues in their relationship, and then they look back, and then the person wants to know, yo, why are we here where we are in this space? Why did you do this? Why'd you cheat on me? Why'd you lie? Whatever. And then that person says, well, I never felt like I was comfortable enough to talk to you. Okay, that's your problem. You needed to address that with me. Because I think a lot of what we do, all of us, we make assumptions about different things. I assume I can't tell you the truth because I assume you won't take it well. You assume that I'm probably lying anyway. So you're already on edge. I think most people are uncomfortable because we're so cynical now because of how fucked up the world is. We just think everybody's lying to us all the time. So that when you ever hear the term like too good to be true, there are women out here and men that when someone's completely honest with them and open and upfront with them, they run away from those relationships because they don't understand it. They think it's too good to be true.
Right.
That shit's an epidemic out here.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the situations we speak upon, I think it's touchy situations. It's all because it all falls down to there's not a lot of people out here that's very open-minded, and that's where we have an issue. There's just not a lot of people that's open-minded. If there was a lot more people that were open-minded to every situation that happens in the world and understand that
Yo, they coming for you, bro.
I promise you I don't live in
the way you paused, it was like, oh shit, yo. Did I clear that warrant? Like, yo, did I clear that warrant?
Listen, I just think that we need more open-minded people. We need more understanding people, because you don't have to be well, how can I say this? You don't have to agree with my lifestyle. You don't have to agree with the things that I've been through. But if you just try to be a little bit more open-minded or understanding to the fact that there are different people, everybody's not the same.
Facts.
Everybody's not the same.
And we don't have to be.
And
we don't have to be.
And we don't have to be. And just because I'm not like you doesn't make me just as good as you.
Right. Or worse. Right. So let me ask you then. So then, how do we fix it? If this is the issue, everything that you're pointing out, which I agree with, because we got to do something to fix it. If we ever hope for relationships to get better, how do we address it then? People on this side aren't comfortable. People on that side aren't making them comfortable. Vice versa. Everybody's.
I feel like what we're doing right now.
Right. Facts.
Is a start. I feel like what we're doing right now is a start. Us speaking upon it. Us having different opinions. Us bringing this to this type of platform and people watching these type of videos and giving them a clear understanding on the type of person I am and the type of person you are and the other 4 people that we have. I think, or 3 people that we have. I think that this can possibly be a start. You know what I'm saying? You can't change the world. You can't change how a person feels or what a person thinks. But you could try to explain to them. You could try. You know what I'm saying? You could try to be that person to talk to them. And I think this is where we start.
And I know you got company, so let me know whenever, But so this is my question to you then. Are people, this speaks to your point about people, being the way they are and not wanting to make other people feel comfortable. Are people ready? Are people ready for that? Because look, if we were on here being ratchet, if we were pranking people, if we were, doing crazy videos, ignorant shit, we would probably have thousands of people in our live streams. Why are people not willing to engage with these types of conversations? Why are people not willing to be a part of that process?
Because when you tell yourself that this is what you like, all that is you facing reality.
Right.
You just seeing something, because to a lot of people this is boring. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of people like us that can have these type of discussions and it be dope. Like, I really think this is
Dope as
dope.
fuck. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We are rare people, and that's real. This is, and I just want everybody that's watching this to understand that these are not conversations we just come on YouTube and do. These are conversations that we
Real
have
life.
every single day personally between us and our friends.
Because what they need to understand is that whether y'all want to see it or not, whether it's in the top of your mind or not, you are all dealing with these situations every day. Just not acknowledging it. You're dealing with it. This shit is in your relationship. Every single thing that we touch on, somebody is dealing with it. We know that because these are our experiences that we talking about. These are experiences that we had, our friends had, brothers, sisters.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But you know what? I'm still going to do what I do.
That's a fact.
I'm still going to do what I do, whether you watch it or not. I'm still going to do what I do, because at the end of the day, we talk about what we want to be different.
Right.
I'm going to be that person that's trying to make it different. You know what I'm saying? Right. And at the end of the day, you watch it.
I believe that too.
If you like it, if you don't, you don't.
I believe that.
I'm about to,
we gotta wrap this thing up. I had to wrap this thing up. I feel like I agree 100%. You gotta be the change that for everybody who complains on their social media about their significant others, their partners. You talk shit about this and that. Y'all don't understand why men are this way. Men don't understand why women are that way. We're talking about it. We're letting y'all know why. You're getting it from my perspective. You're getting it from Jasmine's perspective, the perspective of the other panelists. You're getting it from the straight side, the gay side. You're getting it from the single side, the married side. You're getting all of it. It's up to you if you want to process that.
We
exactly.
Between the ages of 27 and up, you know what I'm saying, to 35, you know what I'm saying? Right. Different type of personalities, different, you know what I'm saying? So,
right. So to close it out for me, and we'll be back with y'all, another time, another day. But to close it out for me, be the change that you want to see. If you're not willing to be that change, my personal opinion is shut the fuck up and don't complain about shit. If you're gonna complain about shit, then be willing to do shit, and that's all.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
All right, wrap it up.
On my end.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, we just need. That's this is the point of these type of discussions. We need more open-minded people. We need more people understanding. You know what I'm saying? And like bro said, if you want to change something, you have to be a part of the change. You have to start with yourself. You can't change something about somebody else and you still the same person. It don't work. They don't work like that. So at the end of the day, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to be a part of that change. So hopefully, you know what I'm saying, you see something, you guys see something that may create that change in you or start that process in you. And that's it. Go to the comfort zone, meet Silk and Jazz page, like and subscribe this video on my bro page, Kev, and see you next time.
That's a fact, and I'll put the link in the description box of this video too when it uploads. All right, so to sign us out, before I keep it in line with the be the change that you want to see in the world, midterm elections is coming up in November. I did a blog on it. Go register to vote. I don't want to hear nobody complaining December and going forward about shit if you didn't go register to vote, and if you registered and you didn't vote. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want no more complaining about Trump or nobody else. Go vote or shut the fuck up. Yo, if you follow my content, you think I talk a lot of shit, you're 100% correct. I talk a lot of shit because I'm passionate about the shit that I talk about. If you follow my content, you think I'm overly opinionated, you're 100% correct. We all have opinions. The difference is I try to use my opinions to affect positive change. End of the day, I'm just a realist who sees shit for what it is and who tries to approach every situation in a commonsensical way. My logic is undeniable. And that logic is we're all just a part of one human race trying to find the best way to carve out a life for ourselves and the people we care about. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love.